All right, so good evening, guys. You're all welcome once again to our live session this evening. I think we're gonna have a fantastic session, and it's good to see so many persons here this evening. Yeah, so I was asking how your week has been. Some persons have given replies. So far so good. Yeah, I like to think the week has been very good so far, and I think we have some new persons in our midst. So good evening to you guys. Welcome. If you're new here, um, this is an aspect of the education we provide, the live sessions, is a forum where we come on the charts, we discuss what the market has to offer us, discuss trade ideas, trade opportunities, how you manage portfolios, risk management, every single thing about trading is discussed in this aspect of our live sessions. And we make the live sessions so fun in the sense that we allow you to express your viewpoints on certain matters, as well as also share your screens and share your journals if need be. So if you're new here, just understand that there's such a beautiful aspect of the education we provide, and you're not going to regret being consistent on these live sessions. Our live sessions are twice a week, so we host Mondays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. GMT plus one. So right at this time, every single week we're here to talk about the market. Okay, so without further ado, I think we'll just jump onto the charts and see what we have. Quite interestingly, I added three new positions today, which we're going to discuss on the charts. As we speak, I have 10 open trades in my portfolio. So yeah, portfolio is getting really big. The last time I had 10 open trades was way back in December, if I'm correct. So um, yeah, let's see. I'll share my screen now. And, let's see what we get. All right. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. Okay. Cool. Interesting. All right. Let's go then. So what has happened so far this week? Still not much has happened in the sense that the last update was on Monday, right? So 3 days later, we don't really have too much going on. So on the chart, I think we we have pretty much the same thing. So let's say for the GPYs, there's not much of a change. So AJ is still here. Um, Nothing like a trade opportunity at this time. We've discussed what we're waiting for to see, to look out for buying opportunities. Yeah, so far nothing has happened. Cat JPY, same thing. We're just bouncing off this support level, right? So think about it. Since the breakout in February, we've just been consolidating. That's what has been happening. This is just the market consolidating. And yeah, nothing too crazy, right? In the past 2 months. So we would either have breakout to the downside or price will break back along the key level, pull back for a retest, and then I'll look to go long once again. CHLGPY, it's pulling back, and yeah, this resistance level is actually acting as a resistance level, right? So yes, this is a pullback from this level. Now I still expect overall a breakout to the upside, which is why I'm still holding my longs. I've been holding it for quite some months actually, and we'll see, right? We'll see. Now if we manage to break, if for some reason we have this breakout, then of course the trade idea is almost as good as complete. So let's see, patience. Let's see if this range will continue or if we're going to have a breakout to the upside. Um, EJ also waiting for this breakout. I think the breakout is imminent. Right? For most of these JPY pairs, um, I think we would at some point have the bullish breakout. Now, of course, as long as things stay in line, as long as the market picture is still there, we are supposed to have the overall uptrend continue on its way. So we'll see, right? It's just patience. Okay, patience would pretty much help us see how we move. So for EG, I'm expecting a breakout. If we have the breakout, it's a successful breakout, then of course I look for a pullback and I look to go long on the retest of this key level. Pound JPY, we're beginning to see some movement, which is interesting. So this week we're beginning to push in profit. I think we're up maybe, let's see, 0.4%, just about 0.4%. All right, that's okay. Still a long way to go, right? Still a long way to go. But yeah, so far you're seeing that the key level is still being respected, right? And this goes to answer the questions that have been asked multiple times. That why am I still holding longs, or why am I still getting involved with longs? And it's for the very reason that the trade idea is still active. Okay, as long as price maintains the key level, the trade idea is very much valid. And yeah, we're long on GG. End of the JPY, nothing too crazy. Still waiting for same price action on AD JPY. So we'll see how that pans out. And then USD JPY. Now, interestingly, like we said on Monday, price is back here at the key level. So I want to buy UJ. I really want to buy UJ, but I'd love to see this happen. Okay, I'd love to see this happen. A new break and retest around this region, and of course I'll look to go long. So yeah, that's the story with USD JPY. So that's about it for the JPYs. Again, not much has happened since our last update on Monday. AD card, nothing too crazy. Euro card, still a breakout, right? So like we said, a breakout. We're hoping that this monthly breakout stays the same, right? Stays the same, so that we can confirm the breakout, and so that we can look for the retest next month. So let's see. Pound card. Hold up. Let me take this out. So this idea is done. So yeah, I'm taking this out until we meet again, right? So pound card. Let's see. So pound card, so far so good. Okay, we bought somewhere in February down here to so low. Considering where price is earlier. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure. Please, do you like some traders that have already worked out? You always pick their ideas off or what? Because I think you're supposed to leave it so it will sound as a reminder. Okay, maybe you've already worked on this idea before or something.
Yeah, I can. I think I can just easily replace them because I know what I took. But for now, sometimes I just want to keep the charts clean, and I think I removed everything. I think I'm correct. I removed everything. So yeah, I think it just helps with the aesthetics. To be honest, like when someone sees the charts, it's like, oh damn, he had it straight on and stuff like that. But I can put it back on if I want to, like later on. But for now, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
But maybe for reference purposes, right? Maybe when I'm explaining my charts and the reasons why I got involved with some trades, maybe when you guys see the previous entries, it might make more sense. So I think I understand where you're coming from. So I just want to put it back. I think pound card here, this idea here. I'll put them back. Okay, I'll put them back when I have the time. All right. So yeah, pound card, like we said, so far so good. Bounced here, took longs here, pushed into profit. It was so nice, and then we pulled back. Now, interestingly, we maintained this level, and yes, price bounced off this level. And now we're trying to make a new higher high. The question still remains: is this going to be the higher low? Now, that question has not been answered because we are yet to make a new high. So if we put in a new high somewhere around here, or if we hit the key level, then we can confirm this as the higher low. But now, this is still a question, right? The question has not yet been answered. So I think some of us are long at this region, which is cool, considering the fact that we may not come back down here. It's possible, but if we're able to maintain this as the higher low, then of course the idea will just easily play out. But yeah, it's testing our patience, of course. Currently up, let's see. Yeah, just above 3%, which is not too bad. Not too bad. Overall take profit is up here at 6%. So see how that plays out. NZ card. Yeah, so we've pulled back to break even. We explained this multiple times. I'm still short. I will also remain short until we break above and switch trends. But until that happens, I like to just stay short. Okay, I like to stay short. So that's about it. But yeah, this trade is running and is pretty much at break even. I think amongst my running trades, if I just quickly check, uh, okay, yeah, so just pound ended is in drawdown. I think every other trade I get is pretty much at break even or in profit, which is good to see. Which is good to see. USD card, same thing, right? So this was a breakout. I was expecting a retest here. We pulled back. We did not find support at the level because, of course, the US dollar is very weak and the price is not find support down there. But that's okay because it is still possible that price will break out of the key level and pull back for yet another retest, and that's what I'm waiting for if that happens. So I think we have a long way to go, like for USD card. Like most of these trade ideas are superb because of the reward you present, right? So if you're able to get this in the coming months and years, it'll be sweet to have. Um, Euro AUD, there's not much to see here. We already hit the key level. Euro NZD, yeah. Let's go back to the monthly. Yep. Interestingly, we're fitting to break above the key level. Now, again, this is what I've always said about a breakout being part of my rules, right? Because, like I said before, if we come down to your NZD on the daily, this is a breakout retest, right? Now, this is not to say that we cannot have bullish continuations from here. We can, of course, absolutely. But just considering the fact that, according to my rules, this is not exactly a breakout yet, right? It's not. Ideally, this is not a breakout yet. Taking a breakout on the daily time frame, looking at what is going on, we might be causing a fake out. So it is one of the reasons why I would always wait for the monthly candle to break out and then look for the retest the next month, because in such scenarios I'm able to avoid fake outs, right? And remember that these things happen at key levels. Okay, price can fake out at key levels. Yes, it happens. So the monthly candle close prevents me from taking too many fake outs, and that's why it is such an important rule with my trading system. So nothing for me on Euro NZD, at least if we don't close above the key level by the end of this month. So yeah, pound AUD, we already broke above, so I think we're waiting for a retest if we get a retest. So let's see. We need price to trickle down here, find support, and then I'll look to go long. And yeah, pound NZD. Now this guy is testing my patience, quite frankly. We've been long for quite some time. It's been over a month now. Took longs on this break and retest, pushed into profit. Yeah, well into profit. I think we're up about 2% at some point. Yeah, yep. But now price is pulling back. Now I think pound NZD is very similar to Euro NZD at this point, which is why I feel like we may get stopped out on pound NZD if the candle closes below the key level, right? So if we come back to the monthly, this is what's going on. So what I'm waiting to see here is if we close below the key level on the monthly, that would mean that this is a fake out, right? And like I said, I think I in some cases have fake out, but it's not every single time, right? So this monthly candle close prevents too many fake outs. It doesn't mean it completely removes it, but it prevents a lot of them. So two things can happen, right? Either price will close below the key level, okay, stopping me out, and then we know that it's a fake out, and then we're not waiting for the new breakout to happen, right? Or this candle will retrace back above the key level. That would then mean that, okay, maybe this is not a fake out, and maybe the level is still acting strong support. So yeah, only time will tell. Now again, I'll not be surprised to see price stop out. I will not be surprised. The reason being that we've had some serious push to the upside in the last few months, right? So think about it: December, January, February, and March, right? So we've moved from one key level to the next. In some cases, when price gets to a key level and breaks out of the key level, in some cases, it doesn't just automatically move. It would, let's see, it would do something like this.
Can't hear you,
All right.
please. Please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I was saying that I'm not exactly surprised that pound NZD is might want to stop out, right? Because in some cases, when price moves from one key level to the next and then breaks out, it may not automatically move like on the retest. Sometimes it doesn't happen. There are times when price would test the level, break it, find support, and then just break back a second time. Okay, this happened with pound card, which we're currently long on at the moment, and it's not exactly a surprise. Now, if you look at this carefully, right, even if we get stopped out, even if we have this maybe this sort of price action play out on pound NZD, would you say that the uptrend is this is the end of the uptrend? Can we say like if price would break this to the downside, find support here, and trickle its way back to the upside? Even though we're stopped out, does that necessarily mean that the trade idea is wrong? Like, I'd like your comments, please.
No, personally, I won't say that the trade idea is actually wrong, because that, as you just said, that it will be as a result of a fake out, and so long as price is still on the key level, I would actually get to say that it would be a similar case with pound J. You understand? So not that won't alter the trade idea. So long as it's still maintaining that key level of support.
Exactly. And to put this into proper perspective, if this breaks to the downside, find support here, and then triggers its way back to the upside, even though, right, even though this was a loss or this stopped out, looking at the trend, it's still like an uptrend, right? This is still an uptrend, technically, right? Because it means that the market will want to come down here and find the higher low and then still trail to the upside. So again, sometimes losses do not mean that your idea is wrong. In some cases, the market is not just ready to move at that time, and that's okay. Right? That's completely fine. So yeah, but then we don't know, right? If this weekly candle would retrace like it did last week, then fine. It puts us well back into the trade. But if it breaks below the, if it closes below, then that's fine. We'll just wait for the next opportunity to go long. That's about it. Let's see. 80 USD. There's not much to see here, to be honest. I'm not interested in selling, at least not until we come back to this guy. Okay. I'm not interested in selling. Euro and Euro USD. Now, the dollar had some strength. I think that was 2 days ago and yesterday. So dollar had some strength. Now, mainly because of sentiment. I don't think I posted that, but it was mainly a sentiment-driven move. Now, why do I say this? Remember that before now, Trump has made statements as to wanting to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is John Paul. He has made such statements in the past. Now, of course, I don't think that the president has such power over the Fed, right? I don't think any president would have such power over the Fed. But yeah, Trump made those statements, and this caused more uncertainties, right? Nobody knows what's going to happen with Fed and Trump. But I think Trump came out on Tuesday, if I'm correct, and said he does not have any intentions of firing John Paul. So of course we know he's very chaotic and he's flexible, I would say. So whenever he makes a move or sees something, it affects the market. Now, the uncertainty that came in with the Fed and Trump was like taken out with that statement. So here's what I mean by sentiment. None of that showed on our macro pictures, the fundamentals we look at, the data on my forex factory, my FX book. None of these things are fundamental data. These are just other things, right? And that's why I said sometimes sentiments can drive the market, even though it's short term, but it can drive the market. And that's why we saw that the dollar had some sort of strength off of that. And yeah, we'll see. Do I think the dollar will continue to weaken? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure. The data coming out of US still shows that US is a very strong economy. So to be honest, I'm not sure. But again, let's see. Let's see how this candle closes at the end of the month, and I think that will help us determine where we could be headed next. Okay, so yeah, just patience. Pound USD, same thing, right? So at the key level, are we going to break, or are we going to have a fake out like we did way back in September? So we'll see. We'll find out. Let's see. NZD USD. Still nothing to see in my humble opinion, right? I would only look to sell if we come back to the key level, and so far we've not done that. Now I know many persons are kind of looking for opportunities here because it feels like a pullback in this move, and I completely understand. It feels like a pullback in this move, and some person wants to do this. This is the retest right here. Let's see. And now this is why like I said before, this is why I don't like to meddle in levels on like the weekly and just the monthly, right? Because they're just too many. They're just too many to work with. So let's go back. So if we're having this, then you can see it's a retest. But if we're having this, would say price has already broken above the level. If we draw this up here, let's say maybe, so you see there's so much to look at. And to be honest, I like to take my trades off about very important levels. So what I'm trying to say here is, if I was looking for a breakout retest here, then I'd have been stopped out. But then it will feel like the idea is still on because now we have another level of retest, right? So again, there's just too much to look at, and that's why I personally don't like to meddle in such levels. But that's okay, that's fine. But yeah, so far this is what we have on NZD/USD, and to be honest, I have no intentions of selling, even though I think that overall going to have more downside continuations. But yeah, we'll see. ADCHF, nothing interesting to be honest. CAT CHF, nothing interesting. We took our profits here already. Let's see. Euro CHF, still nothing interesting to be honest. I think we're having a reversal. All right, let's see. Yeah. Yep. That's what we're having. Pound CHF, same reversal pattern, right? Yeah, and then let's see. NZD CHF, same thing. But pulling back after this stop out and then this stop. Nothing interesting in my humble opinion. And then USD CHF. So USD CHF, we're pulling back. I think we're going to test this level. Yeah, at some point we're going to test this level. So I think the retest is what will help us determine what could be next for USD CHF. Are we going to have downside continuations, or is this going to be fake out? We'll find out. Okay, we'll find out. Like I said before, with the way I take trades, I it's like I ask market questions, right? When I use certain levels to take buys or sells, it's like if price pulls back to the level to test as support or resistance, the question is, will the level hold? And now the market will have to answer the question for you, right? And that's why you take the risk by putting on the trade, and then the market will answer the question by either holding or not holding. So I think that's about it. So just to run through my running trades, I have CHF GPY running, pound GPY running, pound card running, NZD card running, pound NZD running. I think these are the only FX positions I have. Every other thing is, yeah, indices. So yeah, so this brings me, so before we switch over to indices. Do you guys have any questions concerning like FX pairs? Just so that I'm sure we're moving over. Do you guys have any questions concerning FX pairs? If you have, feel free to ask. Let's clear it up.
Yeah, please. I wanted to ask about EuroCHF. So with this now, if the monthly candle close above it, which means it's a confirmed reversal, or we still need to look at certain things before?
I think there's already a reversal, to be honest. I think there's already a reversal, considering how important this key level is, right? The importance of this key level is what makes me feel like this is going to be a reversal. Now, looking at the fundamentals, the Swiss franc, like I said, is not so good. The only reason why we had a dump on the Swiss franc pairs is because of the safe haven demand, and I think that will fade away soon, right? So if it's in terms of the economies, I don't think the Swiss franc is looking too good, in all honesty. So I don't see much of a downside. It can happen if things change, but right now I don't see much of a downside. That's why I'm like, I think it's already a reversal because, yeah, it is. But now I'm not in a haste to buy. Of course, I won't be buying right now. This will still be like a sideways market, so I will need prices to switch up, break above new levels, and that will make me interested. But so far, I will not be buying. But yeah, this is a reversal. At least so far, it's a. So,
okay, right, I see. I hear. Thanks. Yeah.
So, all right. Any other questions on this on FX pairs just before we move over to indices? All right. No questions. Sweet. So let's move over to indices then. We're seeing a bit of grains when we speak of indices now, which is interesting. Right? Which is very interesting. I personally think I've missed this. I think I've missed this. Let's see. I think I have quite frankly. I think I have. Now my entry should have come way back in, I think, sometime around here, right? Because let's look at this again. Okay, so this was the first retest in August, and now the second retest in March, August of 2024, and now March of 2025. Now, wonderful retest, right? Wonderful retest. Now the difference is I wasn't paying close attention to this guy. When I say paying close attention to this guy, it was already like here, right? It was already like here. Now I could enter, I would have entered, but I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna have a pullback. Like maybe we just pull back, considering like this was a retest. I was pushed up clearly, so I was thinking maybe we're gonna have a pullback. Now I didn't want to set the buy limit. I was just watching this and just waiting to see if we pull back. But apparently we didn't. So far we haven't. So if the market does not, if this market, like this is the Australian 200 index. Now, is the index that tracks the top 200 companies in Australia, top 200 publicly traded companies in Australia. Now, if this does not pull back, if this market does not pull back to give us any opportunities, then it may be gone from here. It may be gone from here. But yeah, let's see. I'm looking. Interesting. Interesting. Well, moving on. Okay, we didn't quite get a retest here. Nothing to see here. Now I'm long on the S&P 500, so I took the trade today. And in fact, I was supposed to get involved at the close of yesterday, but I was so busy yesterday, been busy throughout the day. So I was just able to like snatch the entry today. But yeah, I was supposed to get involved at the close of yesterday. Now, what am I looking for? Like, why am I long? For the same reasons. Now let's look at price action. okay, just to make sure we're not missing anything. So we had the breakout, the retest. Okay, this happened in August. Now I bought this. Okay, I bought this and traded this guy all the way up until November. I think somewhere around these highs, and I closed my profit. Okay, now we pulled back a second time for a retest. Now in this scenario, I don't really need the manipulation. Right, this is not because there's no key level, so I don't really need the manipulation. But we had it, right? Because we remember how this dump came up. The uncertainties we had in the past few weeks, and then the market dumped really, really hard. So look at the weekly time frame and the candles, so that we're paying attention to what happened. So we had a retest. Now ideally we would need price to come down here and find rejections, okay, just to explain that the level is holding fine as support. But we actually broke below the key level and closed below the key level. So we closed. Now when this happened, in my head is like, okay, fine. I'm no longer interested in this market until we retest this guy or until we break above the level, which we did the next week, right? So we tested, we broke below, and we broke back above. Now this is like canceling all of these to the downside. This will only be like a week to the downside, if that makes sense. So now this is happening, and then we broke back above the key level. And now what I'm waiting for is what? A retest, right? So we, same thing, right? I didn't want the manipulation, but we had it, right? So we broke back above, and now I'm waiting for the retest. We had a retest last week, but I didn't get involved last week because I needed to see that price is finding support at the level. So if there's a retest, then price needs to find support at the level, show me a strong bullish candle for me to get involved. Now, interestingly, this week, we had a dump first. As you guys can see, we had a dump first, and now we're trading back above the key level. So if you look at this, it's the same exact thing, right? We break below, we break above, we retest, and we're bouncing. So this is a break and a retest. Now, on the daily time frame, it's a little tricky because of how the candles are forming. Now, look at what happened here at the start of this week. So there's a retest here on Friday, right? And then we dumped first before closing back above the key level. So this is still a break and retest technically, if that makes sense. And that's why I got low on the S&P 500. So it's the same thing, okay? Same scenario with this. So we came back, we tested, we tried to break below the key level here, we closed above. So it's still a break and retest. So same thing happening here, although we have some sort of manipulation here, which is like the second entry we have, if that makes sense. So yeah, got long. So like I said, I was supposed to get involved at the end of yesterday's candle, but I said I would just get involved today, and yeah, that's me. I'm long. Same thing goes for yeah. Go ahead. So if you have a question,
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I have a question. Actually, yesterday I wanted to send you my because I was looking at US30, which is quite similar to S&P 500. So I had something of this kind of setup, but for some reason I could not send it to you. So when I saw your update this morning, I checked and it was SPS. So I thought that, oh, did you not have US30 on your watch list? That they look really similar. Maybe you can take a look, and I have some levels drawn. I want to confirm if those levels are actually right. Yes.
okay, yeah. We'll look at US30 in a bit. US30 is down here. I think this guy YM1. So look at US30 in a bit. But so far, this is my explanation for the S&P, and it's pretty much reasons why I got involved with the other assets. So yeah, France 40. Now remember, I bought this guy in November here. Closed out in February. It was one of the best weeks so far this year. Late November up until February. Insane. Now the reward here is not the best considering how the setup is forming, right? But I got involved either ways because I still think this is an opportunity. So let's see. Similar scenario here. So we break below, break above, we retest, right? And there was a gap. There was a huge gap. Now I was supposed to get involved at the end of yesterday's candle as well. But yeah, either way, I'm long. That's the point. Now, is it possible for the market to come back and test the second time? It is, but I feel like it's too much of a luxury to just wait for that. because it's kind of the similar thing I was doing with the Australian 200, and it did not do the same. So yeah, this is a setup. Yeah, setup, and I'm taking it. All right, I'm taking it. That's why I'm long. So same thing. Okay, same thing. Now with this guy, you see that we had price got to a key level. So you see that I did not jump into just buying here. I needed the manipulation. We saw it, right? This is it. So whenever we're asking questions like, what kind of manipulation are we expecting? It is something like this, okay? Price, we need to value the key level. It feels like a joke sometimes, but it happens, and I've seen it happen too many times to ignore it. That's what I was trying to say. So I will not buy as support. Instead, I will wait for some sort of manipulation to happen. A break below, a break above, a retest. And that's what happened. So that's why I'm long. The darks pretty much missed out on the retest here. This guy, most of these guys have not properly set up. That's why I'm not taking them. I think I need a pullback here to buy. Maybe we'll get it, maybe we'll not. What else? Let's see. So we broke above. There was no pullback. Which is what I was trying to say, right? I need a pullback to buy. I need the pattern to be very much complete. And then with the way these guys set up, it was just too many gaps, right? Too many gaps to look at. And then the way this kind of form are important to price action and how I'll get involved. So it's pretty much why I was just waiting out, right? Just waiting out, not trying to rush everything in. But yeah, so far so good. The Nikkei, same thing. Now I hope that this guy does not just rally as the Australian 200 is doing right now. Because I need a pullback. I need this retest to get involved. So I think this guy, I think this one as well. Okay, no. SMI, yes. These two, I need a pullback to look for longs. So I'm hoping we don't just have the rally, okay, without me getting involved. Like I explained before now, it was possible to get involved here, but then, like I said, my stop will have to be down here, you get, because there's no base to work with. But if we have a retest, I cannot focus on the key level as the base. Now look at what happened with the S&P. Look at this. This is the base I was speaking of. Because without this base forming, without price forming a base at the key level, your best bet is to have your stop below this guy. Without a new base forming, right? Your best bet is to have your stop below this guy. And yeah, that's pretty wide, right? That is pretty wide. So that's why I'm like, and that's part of the reason why I was waiting for the setup to form. And here, what's this guy? So that's why I'm not trying to rush into this particular index. Now, will it pull back? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But yeah, if it does, then that's fine. And I don't think I want to chase this market. That's not something I want to do. So, what else? Okay, yeah, the Nasdaq, same thing, right? Very similar price action. So, if we come to the weekly time frame, exactly. We break below, we break above, we retest, we find support, we dump first, plug back above the level near and long. And as you can see, my stop loss is not just below the key level, but it's below the base. So whenever there's a base forming, I think I would also give you guys more examples. Whenever there's a base here, I would like to keep my stops below the base. Like that's like the most recent point that the market looked to take out. So I like to keep my stop right well below the base, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm long on the S&P, I'm long on France 40, I'm long on Nasdaq. Okay. Yeah, let's look at US 30. Yeah, so Yusuf, this is US 30. Now the only reason why I'm not exactly long at the moment is pretty much because for me. Now let's do monthly. Hold on. Let's come to the monthly. So it's a break and retest, right? We're not denying that. Absolutely fine. It's a break and retest. But now I need my pattern to show up to get involved. And now look at where I'm using as the key level, right? You see how price reacted to these levels in the past. Okay, And again, it is not a coincidence that we're closing above the level, at least so far, which is interesting. Now, if we come down to the weekly, it's a very similar pattern. The only difference is we look at this, right? We cannot, it's not the same. It's similar, but it's not the same because we broke below and then we tried to break above, but then the retest was not like a retest above the key levels. Everything is still happening below the key level, if that makes sense, right? So that's why. I don't know what levels you have on US30, but this is the current level I'm using.
My
Oh,
level
it's the
is
same
around
thing.
39,115, not exactly 40K.
Okay, so it's not the same. I think that there's a little adjustment, that's why. But there's a reason why I'm using this. Like, you see why I'm just using this. I'm trying to use like the exact highs, the exact previous highs as the reason for buys. And I remember I took longs from these levels in the past as well. I bought the US30 here, closed it around here in November as well.
Kasi,
So
Kasi, sorry,
yeah.
Kati. I want to
Okay,
find
yeah,
out
sorry.
if this section would be uploaded anywhere that we can watch like later.
If it's what?
If it to be uploaded anywhere, like on YouTube, anywhere that we can watch later, because I wouldn't be able to join like now to follow now, but I would want to watch it later. I don't know
Okay.
if you're able to upload.
Yes. Now, yes. In fact, I have a bunch of sessions to upload. I think from sometime in March. So I haven't uploaded everything yet. So I will, but there are too many to upload, and let's see. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll try to upload everything else at least before the week ends. Okay. So that you can have an opportunity to watch this. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course, anytime, man. Anytime. So yeah, so this is like the slight difference. Now what I'll be waiting for US30 is maybe something like this. All right. Maybe something like this. Because I still need to see that break on retest, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully we get it, right? Hopefully we get it. And yeah, I think that's about it, right? That's about it. What other trades do I have? Palladium. Yeah, so I'm long Palladium. And this was the example I was speaking of when I said sometimes when I take the entries, if there's a base, I like to keep my stops below the base, right? Which is what I'm doing here. So it reduces my reward, yes, but it puts me at the best opportunity in case there's another fake out around the level. So I think platinum as well. Yeah. Now look at this. We've not broken below this base since January of 2024, right? So that's why I'm using the base. So you see we came down here in the dump, but we didn't break up below it, right? So, and then we close back above the key level. So the key level is important. That's what we're using. But in some scenarios where there can be like liquidity sweeps, or liquidity grabs, as some would call it, I would just want to keep my stops below the base. Unless there's no base to work with. Now I'll just use the key level. If that makes sense. So, 5 trades on FX pairs, and then 3 trades with these indices, 2 metals, basically. The S&P, France 40, NASDAQ, Palladium, and Platinum. Now, some of these other guys are still setting up. I think I've missed this one, maybe, but some of us are still setting up, which is interesting. And we'll see, right? It's just patient. We're taking 3, and we'll see what happens to the rest if they set up according to the plan. And of course, I would love to also take longs on them. Okay. Now, I have to point out that there is some amount of risk to buying these indices at this time, in the sense that we're still in chaotic times, very much, and we saw what happened to these guys, how they dumped really hard, and we're also seeing that if the market will dump, if the S&P will dump, most likely every other index will dump alongside it. What it means is, if I will take a loss on the S&P, then most likely France 40 index will stop out, most likely NASDAQ will stop out. That might be like a 3% loss for me, right? So is it risky? To some extent, yes, we'd say it's risky because, yeah, these are I'm almost always long on these assets. I never really short them because I want to trade alongside the trend. So whenever they're pulling back for like deeper pullbacks, it means that I will most likely take a loss on these guys. Even though it's risky, I like to say that these are still very much good opportunities. And of course, every opportunity comes with risk. Okay. And that's completely fine. The question is, have I accepted the risk? I have, definitely. And am I willing to lose 1-2% on these ideas if they don't play out? Of course I am, definitely. Now I feel like I have a buffer this year. Like I'm already up this year, so I can risk some of my equity, if that makes sense. With the gains I've already made this year to take some of this risk. And it's a bet, it's a big bet in the sense that this is basically better on the stock market, at least for the S&P 500 or better on the stock market. Now if we're going to have an insane year this year, then this would be one of the best trades of the year because it would mean that we're going to have like new higher highs this year. But if the market will take a bigger slump, then yeah, it's going to be a loss. It's just going to be one loss. And then I think about it like I'm not the only one who's long. Right? Hedge funds, institutions are looking to buy this dip alongside. So another dump would put us into a bear market territory. And I mean, I'll not be the only one who will be taking a 1% loss. I mean, most of the institutions will have like bigger losses to cater for, considering how they leverage into some of these indices or some of this index. So yeah, it's a big bet basically. So the question is, is this going to be that year for the stock market? That's just the question. Like last year was insanely good, right? It was insanely good. I think about, like I said before, I only added these indices like sometime in May last year, so I kind of missed out on some of these entries. To be honest, like some of these entries, I think I took this, right? But I missed out on this. We should have added to the overall push last year, but that's okay, right? That's okay. What we're saying here is we had a fantastic year last year. I think we saw that. The question is, are we going to have a replica of that this year? If we have that, then interesting. We're going to make so much money on these guys if they play out. Okay, but if they don't, then of course it's only going to be like what, a 1% loss. So I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
Yeah, Cassidy, please. I wanted to ask, is it possible DXY will be stronger at the same time indexes like S&P to also be strong?
Yes, it
Does
can
it have
happen.
like index correlation?
Now, in some cases, when DXY gains strength, some of these indices will pull back. The S&P, the Nasdaq, US 30. I think also the Russell. In some cases, it just, to be honest, it depends on the context, right? It depends on the fundamental context, right? So we don't just use one thing to judge the other. So is it possible for the dollar to rise and then for indexes to pull back? Yes. But is it also possible for the dollar to rise and also for these indices to rise as well? Yes, it can. So it just depends. Okay? It just depends. It just depends. I think it's not a case of one size fits all, to be honest. So. But here, anyways, now
let's check on gold.
Sorry, what?
I mean, let's check on gold.
Okay, gold or gold.
I talked about the retracing, so
yeah. Let me see that.
On H4, yeah.
Yeah, let me see that. I think it was around here, right?
Yes.
Now, to be honest, I will not be buying this. I think it's still too high. Personally, I don't just try to catch like short-term moves. I like to catch like longer-term moves. That's why, as you see, this is where I'm looking to buy like down here, so that I can catch all of these, if that makes sense. But in the short term, is it possible for this to? Let me see. Price action. To be honest, gold has not really presented too many opportunities. Like when I mean opportunities, I mean like break and retest opportunities. Not too many. I mean, look at this, right? Look at the H4 highs. Not too many pullback and retests that we can work with. it pisses me off. I can't even lie, because this is insane. Like gold is on a rocket, right? So I think about how this is an uptrend, and the guy just he's not just giving me anything to work with. I was hoping I'll get this. All right, I was hoping I'll get this. This had worked out. I think it would have been up like maybe 5-6% right now, which would have been crazy, but yeah, it's all good. So to do I would not buy this, to be honest, because I think it's too high. And considering that I don't just like to cut short-term moves, but it is possible for this to happen, right? In the short term, I think it's possible for this to happen. Now, considering that gold has not given too many pullback opportunities, like retest opportunities, I think you want to keep an eye out for this one, right? Let's keep an eye out for this one. But then the question is, do you take H4 breaks and retests? I think it always boils down to the question. Like I said before, I don't analyze things individually and make decisions out of just that idea, like out to make that idea work out, if that makes sense. It's always a thing of is this a pattern I will take every single time? So if it is, then fine. I think you want to look out for a break and retest to continue taking longs. So it's not. I don't think it's about if this would play out. I think it's about, is this a pattern you would usually take on your portfolio? That's the main question. So
All right, Cassie, please. Also, if I read some articles, they are predicting of gold going to 4,000, like a JP Morgan, the BlackRock, like you see those things. So sometimes I was asking, what stance did they do for them to and like say that gold will be going to maybe 4,000 ounce or 3,500 or so? If you can give me a clue on that.
foreign question. To be honest, most of these hedge funds are how do I explain this now? So some hedge funds are calling for hedge fund banks institution are calling for 4,000. And yeah, we can get 4,000. I mean, looking at what is going on in the market, right? The uncertainties, how gold is so attractive. Now, to make this, hold up, let me see. To put this into proper perspective, I think when gold was up here, I think when gold was like here or somewhere around here, I saw some banks and hedge funds call for 3,000. So let me help you understand. So let's take this down here. I think yes, somewhere around here. Now from this point, 3,000 is here. You see how high it is, right? And this was way back in September. Yeah. So somewhere around these highs. Let me see. So this was way back in September. I saw some analysts call for 3,000, and gold was going to get to 3,000 an ounce. And at the time, it was because not only is this an uptrend, but the uncertainties in the market at that time also made gold very attractive. And what do we have now? Yeah, gold did hit. Now, I think these type of markets are easier to predict. When I say predict, it's like they look at what is going on with the fundamentals, and then they make a case study out of it. Okay, for example, the things going on, the tariffs, how it would affect the market, and things like that. They factor these things in and use it to give like an outlook on what they're expecting. And then don't be surprised. Sometimes they are wrong as well, right? At the end of the day, they are still analysts themselves. They are wrong in some cases, but most times they are right. Okay, sometimes they are right, other times they're wrong. But then it's just an analysis, just like we would make our own analysis from trade ideas. It's the same way they do the analysis. The difference is they have more analysts, better research, and of course more resources. Right? I think that's about it. So whenever you read these articles, I think you also want to be careful about the articles you read. But if it's from like maybe JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, then yeah, I think most of these guys are just bullish on gold. I think since like last year. So it's not really a surprise to see. That's why I'm also bullish on gold myself. But I want to get like that retest, if that makes sense. And that's why I've been hoping. But so far I've not had that. So now looking at the open positions I have, sorry, let me just let me just make sure of this. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I have, yeah, like I said, 10 open trades. Yeah, the portfolio is really hard. 10 open trades. I'm up about, let me see, yeah, almost 6%, just above 5% at the moment, which is very, very cool, very cool to see. Now, in terms of returns, now I added three positions, right? And that's 3% worth of risk. But I think in terms of returns, just these three trades can bring me about, I think it's somewhere around 12%, if I'm correct with these calculations. 11, 12%. And now I had 7 open trades before now, and I was looking at somewhere between 33 and 37% on just those 7 trades. But now I'm looking at somewhere between, say, 45 to 47%. Okay, let's just say 43 or 47% just to give the range. So that's what I'm expecting if all of these trades, all of them, if they all play out, about 47% worth of gains. And I'm doing this with just 10 trades. Cool to see, right? The question is, will all of these trades play out, and what is the time frame for them to play out? Okay, but I like to think that they're going to do really well. If the trend continues, and remember, every single trade we're taking is a trend trade. We are at no point taking a reversal. So you see, I think if the trend continues, now this is where I do not have control, right? Because I've done my part, which is to prepare myself for these trades. And you see how much patience I put into this, right? Look at the S&P, for example. Look at the S&P, for example. The last time I bought was way back in August, right? Took profits in November. And since then, I've just waited until now. And now I bought again. So now, all I have to do is just wait. So you see, this is, I don't have any other control. Like, this is outside my control. It is now, the market will be the market. Okay? So the question is, if the uptrend continues, which will be fine. If it doesn't continue, then oh well, that's not really my fault, right? But if it does continue, considering how we've leveraged into the market, which is superb, then I like to think that we're going to make so much. 45% of gains, interesting. Considering we've had like, I think we had like maybe a 2% drawdown this year. I think like that's about 2%. I like to keep it that way. I'm just trying to make sure the drawdown stays very small. That's my goal this year. So yeah, let's just see. All right, let's see what the market has to offer us. And I'm up 5%, so I don't see nothing too crazy in terms of how they would swing. But I'd like to see what happens. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated as to what is going on. But yeah, I think we're gonna have like some wild gains if this trades move. If this trades move. So yeah, patience. At this point, there's nothing I can do other than wait. All right, nothing I can do other than wait. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks and months. There'll be updates on these trades. All right. So yeah, I think that's about. I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you guys have any questions, then yeah, please ask away.
Yeah, Cassie, please, for the Nasdaq, is it for the tech companies, right?
Is it Nasdaq for
Tech
tech companies?
companies, maybe,
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty.
like
Yes, pretty much.
Google,
Pretty much.
those guys. So,
That's
so,
what it
so,
is.
so, so, with the tariff, U.S. President he's doing, like, is it possible it can move together with the S&P? Because what I heard about them say like they are maybe the Apple they are doing their things in China and they're having issue with this. Will it affect the Nasdaq?
It can. That's the thing, right? And that's why, like I said, the thing with the tariffs is it would not just only affect the Nasdaq. It's like a global thing, if that makes sense. Remember, every single asset, every single pair was shaking up. Like, I mean, we saw that, right? So that's what I'm saying. That if the uncertainties are wearing off, and if things just swing back into normal, then of course we can see higher highs in these stock market. But if that doesn't happen, and if we have like more uncertainties, and Trump and China, they go at each other again, of course Apple would suffer. Of course, most of these companies will definitely suffer. So yes, it can affect. It can, absolutely. But one thing you have to understand is the Nasdaq and the S&P, they move very similar, very, very similar. So if the Nasdaq is going to go down, then you sure as hell know that the S&P will also go down in most cases. In most cases. So,
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for the clarity.
yeah. So the Nasdaq is like, how to explain this now? Like a concentrated snapshot, right? That takes care of just tech companies instead. So the S&P is like is a broader, is broad. So it takes care of like a whole lot. There are different sectors in the S&P 500, but then the Nasdaq just specifically treats tech. So Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, all of that, Meta, all of that. So Tesla. So technically, if these companies do well, then you see the Nasdaq doing well. But then because they're the big names, and because they, so let me give you an example. I think 2023 and 2024. Let me see. Yeah. Now, for a run like this, right? For a run like this in the last 2 years, it wasn't mainly because all of the companies were doing well. In some cases, it's just you just need like one good company to do well. One of the big names, for example, Nvidia, right? So this move, to be honest, was greatly driven by the success of Nvidia. So if we look at Nvidia, I think I have the ticker down here. Open list, yeah, stocks. Let me show you Nvidia. I don't like to trade stocks individually. Not I don't like to do that. But yeah, let me show you guys. Nvidia has been crazy. Like now, mind you, there was also a stock split, right? I think a stock split is like, how do I explain this now? All call a halving. I think for cryptos is a halving. For stocks, it's like a stock split. Now look at where price. Hold up, let me see. Hold on. Let me just ask what price Nvidia was before the split. I don't even put this into proper perspective. So the price of Nvidia. Let me see. Because there was a split. Hold up. Okay, sweet. So I think yeah, I think it was around 1,200. Yeah, 1,200. It was crazy. Like I said, this guy moved. Oh god. In fact, some person just made so much money just because they bought Nvidia, and that's what I was saying. That's what I say about trading, right? There's just so much to trade. There's so many assets to look at. You can make so much money just by being in an asset or trading an asset that is just moving really mad. I think it was somewhere around these highs before the stock split. Crazy. Now, just with the stocks, like, just think about this. This is where Nvidia was at the start of 2023. Look at this. Thank you. Now, look at this pattern. Same thing, right? Same thing I've always said. Look at this pattern. Look at the manipulation down here. It's not a coincidence. It's never a coincidence. We hit a key level, we come back down, we bounce, we fail, we break, retest, and then since then, boom, we're lost. price just it left and never came back. So again, like I said, this is a pattern I don't neglect. I never neglect patterns like this because I've seen it too many times. All right, too many times. But here, going back to the point, the start of 2023, and look at how it rallied to the upside. Now, not many tech companies did so well between 2023 and 2024, but then the S&P and the Nasdaq were moving really well, mainly because of Nvidia. So it was like Nvidia was just basically holding the stock market, if that makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes when you see a move, now look at this same thing, right? January 2023, some here, and look at how it rallied all the way to the upside, mainly because of Nvidia. I think in 2024 it was mainly because of Nvidia, quite frankly. So what I'm trying to say here is sometimes the moves we're seeing, okay, it's not because all of the companies are doing well. Sometimes it's just the big names. Sometimes it's just big names. Sometimes it's one of the big names. If it's doing like exceedingly well, you just see that the entire market just seems to follow suit. And it will just be hanging, just slowly moving. I watched this happen last year when I started tracking this guy. I watched this happen last year. So that's something else we put into perspective. That it is not always all these companies doing really well. Sometimes just a few companies they just like lead the pack, and then yeah, that's about it. And then that explains why, even though the S&P and the Nasdaq they move really high, the Nasdaq edged higher last year. I think the Nasdaq did more than the S&P last year, mainly because Nvidia is mainly in the Nasdaq, if that makes sense. So I think that's just new information, I guess. So any other questions, guys? Just before we wrap.
Hello, Casey.
Yeah, Johnny, how are you?
How you doing? Can you look at GJ?
GJ, all right, yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, here's what I'm looking at, GJ.
Oh, you recently just bought?
Sorry, I can't
Can you?
really hear you. Just give me a minute, please.
Okay.
All right, hang on.
Okay, hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was saying, did you just recently buy GJ?
So, did I what?
Did you just recently buy GJ? Did you get into a buy for GJ?
Yeah, recent. Yeah, I think that was like sometime at the start of April, like on at the start of April. Wait, hold up. Did I post I was getting back on GJ? Wait, hold up. Did I give an update
Yeah,
on
yeah,
my
you did. Yeah, you did.
that I was re-entering GJ?
Yeah, you posted it.
I did,
Oh,
right?
really? No, I thought like, yeah, you call it out here or you didn't post it.
Oh no, I did. I posted it. I did on the 10th of April. I made sure to post it because I did. So just go back 10th of April. I re-entered. So I did.
Oh, right. You
So
placed the
yeah,
buy order.
yeah, I did on the 10th of April. So I'm long as well. So I was long in February, took buys here, held through, but yeah, I was weak out, right? I couldn't really help this week. It was just too low. So when price closed back above the key level, I just bought again. I'm long.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Yeah,
Are
because
you
I
looking
was
at buy? Are you,
yeah I was actually I was looking at I was just trying to look for an entry.
okay, so this is very tricky. This week is very
I
tricky.
saw my entry, but I it was the price already left. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of waiting for
Oh,
like some type of retracement.
okay, okay. Now I think you might just need to set the buy limit, to be honest, because sometimes if you're just watching price might come back without you knowing, right? You might just miss it. So maybe just set a buy limit. I don't know where you're looking at getting involved exactly, but maybe just set a buy limit just in case you're targeting. Just in case you're targeting.
Yeah.
Just in case you're targeting. So,
Can you go to the 4 hour real quick?
yeah, let's do that. Okay, well, interestingly, uh, hold up. There's no week to the downside here, but it's there on the daily. Isn't this interesting? Let me just check in. Uh, Let me check any of the CFD brokers. Which one? FX here. Let's see. All right, there's a week. This week. All right, cool. Okay, cool. That makes sense. That makes sense. So here, this is what I'm looking at. Are you waiting for anything else before you buy? So I think I presume your entries were supposed to be like somewhere around here. Here maybe.
Yeah. That yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
I see the 4 hour closed bullish, but I I don't want to
mm,
like I don't want to buy too high, you know.
yes, I think it's too high right now. That's where I'm like, maybe you can just set the buy limit because it's just 1 4 hour candle, so you can easily retrace during the Asian session. You can. Um, but yeah, nice break and retest. Now, if this holds, then it'll be tricky. I think it'll be tricky since it's still like close to the main key level. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. But yeah, nice break and retest. Nice break and retest.
Yeah, I'm
You
sure
see what
prices
happened?
during London session.
Yeah, you see what happens. What happens.
All right, thank you, Casey.
Yeah, of course, of course. So any other questions? Now, if there are no other questions, I just wanted to point out that um, we spoke about journaling, right? And I think it's like the second month. I think we spoke about this like sometime in March. It's been some time, right? It's been some time. Um, Ideally, I was thinking that we'll leave this for like maybe 3 months after, just so that we have so much data to look at. But um, I think we'll just see. I think we'll just have an update. So today is. Let me see. Today is the 24th of April, 2025. I'm thinking of using the next 2 weeks, right, to run through our journals. Okay, we are quite some of us here, and so I'm thinking of using the next 2 weeks to run through our journals. Okay, So what it means
Um,
is,
hello, Casey.
yeah, can you hear me?
I no, I thought last week, before journal, we were talking about back testing before.
Yes, we are. We yeah, but test is supposed to come like I have that scheduled for like I think the third week of May. That's when I have that discussion scheduled. I mean, back testing. But we talked about journaling before now, and I said that we should like track our trades and stuff like that. But like quite some time has passed since that discussion, so I'm just trying to like check in to see how far we've gone with our tracking and stuff. So that's why I'm trying to take like the next 2 weeks just to go through our journals. So we will not have much of chat work like we will, but like we pretty much I'll just have to run through things so that we can have enough time to look at our journals. Now, like I said, we're quite some of us here, so it will take some time. So we'll not be able to finish everyone in like one session. So to make this easier for us, I think your journal needs to be like either up to date or have at least enough data on it so that we can it'll be easy to like look through your journal and then have a review on it, right? And so that we can go through many percent within these 2 weeks, 3 weeks at most. I'm not trying to skip too much work so that we don't miss out on that as well. But yeah, I want to see your journals, right? I want to see your journals. So please just between now and like maybe next week Monday, you guys just make sure keep them updated. I think April is almost coming to an end. That's why I'm thinking of using the side of me to do that. So keep them updated the last 2 months, all the trades you've taken, everything. Just record your trades, and let's have a review next week. Okay. Is that fine?
Yeah, sounds good, Casey.
All right. Sweet. So again, like I said, just make sure your journals are up to date. And yeah, I know like I said, we're too many, but we'll just take them one after the other. And that's why like I feel like it will take some weeks to cover most of us, at least. Some of us who have enough data in our journals. So let's see how that goes. Okay, let's see how that goes. So without any other questions,
Hello,
yeah,
Casey.
yes, Abdul.
Yeah, okay. I want to ask a question. Like I'm not talking about now, like before, like when you just started trading. So I want to ask that most of the time, like you understand, most of the time, like Monday to Friday, you understand, like during trading week, you understand. So Monday to Friday, do you spend it on charts, checking charts, backtesting or something like maybe your Monday to Friday, like you're just checking charts, maybe on fundamental and everything. Like apart from that, like do you do like maybe some personal thing that is not even related to trading or something like so do you do something like that or something because most times I do feel like okay whenever maybe I might just drop the chat and like for a moment I will not be doing anything like that's even related to trading. Maybe I'm doing my personal thing or something. Maybe that thing might not even be something that's more reasonable or something. Like maybe I just felt tired or something. Like I'll just feel like, oh, okay, I think I shouldn't be lagging behind. So like, okay, let me just go back to the distance. So I want to know, like, do you spend most even till okay, then and now too, like do you spend most of your time Monday to Friday, like on your system, chat, everything. So I don't know if you get my point.
No, I don't. Now, yeah, and then quite frankly, I didn't really spend like I did spend time on the chart, learning like putting the hours, learning how to trade, back testing. Yeah, I did countless nights, sleepless nights, all of that. But as time went on, I less chat time for me to be honest. Like once I had a system, you see, that's what I was saying about I don't have to come to the chat. Like I only come to the chat for the sake of the fact that I love trading, if that makes sense. I don't really have to come to church every single day. And I don't come to church every single day, in fact. Now, think about it, right? Look at how I trade. And I don't feel like I trade. To be very honest, I've said this many times. I don't feel like I trade because I have to wait weeks and months for my ideas to set up. And it takes me less than 5 minutes to take the trades. Every single thing else is just waiting. Like I just wait for weeks and months, take the trade, and wait. That's it. So in all of these, I actually never feel like I trade. But because I teach, right? Because I teach, I also have to come to the charts. Also because I look at the fundamentals, I also have to come on. But it's not like I wake up every morning and I come onto the charts every day. Nah, that's not it. Nah, no way. No way. In fact, because of how I've set up the system, like this is what I was trying to do. This was my goal with setting up the system this way. I never wanted trading to affect like other affairs of my life, if that makes sense. Right? So I created a system in a way that it wouldn't even I don't have any single stress whatsoever when it comes to trading. I don't have anything like it doesn't feel like stress to me. It doesn't, right? Because of how I program the system. Like for a day trader, that's different because you have to show up on the charts every day to take setup. But I'm not. I'm not just a swing trader. I'm a position trader, right? So I don't have to come to the charts every day, right? I might check through the charts a day, maybe with my phone. But if I'm not at the office, like on the charts, then nah. Just look through the charts basically on my phone. That's it. I don't have to be on sit if that makes sense. I don't have to be on sit. It used to be that way in the past, but it's not like that now. It's not like that now.
Okay, uh, because sometimes
Okay.
yeah, okay, as you like personally, me now, you understand, like you just said it here, like it's because you love trading, like you love checking your chart or something. Because sometimes like I do have some crazy hobbies whereby like there are something that are even unreasonable to me or something, but I love doing it. But you know, maybe if I'm doing those things, I just feel like okay, I should just be on my chart. I should be checking the chart or something. So I don't know
No,
what's the meaning of the and but even
I
even
think that's
though
the wrong.
even though I don't have anything tangible to do on the chart, like I haven't done on my outlook on the chart or something, like I don't have anything to do anymore. But I'll still feel like okay, still be like I should just stay in front of my system, still checking the charts. Because I don't know, that's how I felt most times.
I understand. I
Because
get it.
because I just want
I,
to like it seems like I just want to force myself to just love checking charts, you understand? Like 24/7.
mm, I get it. I get it. I understand. I felt this way too in the past, right? I liked it so much that I didn't want to leave the chat. Like my system was always on. There's always a chat. I come back, and I think the COVID too also played a huge role in looking at the chat because then it was like lockdown. Nobody goes out anywhere, so like 24/7. I was on the chart. Okay. Now I understand how this feels, but I promise you, this is not the best way to look at things because um you see, as traders, we don't tell our lives to the chart. We're not supposed to do that. You see, trading is a skill. It's a business. It's just like every other business. Okay. I think that the fact that you're a trader doesn't stop you from doing other things. It shouldn't. I mean, it depends on how you set up the way you trade. But like personally, it doesn't stop me from doing any other thing I want to do. So always coming to the chat. I understand how it feels like. It's just the love of I just want to be there. I don't want to miss out on something. Like let me see how this is happening. Let me see how this is happening. I get it. But now I don't think it's good practice. Because for me it's boring. Now it's boring because think about it. I trade on the daily, weekly, monthly time frame. Like my entries come on the daily. So and then look at how the trade is set up. I mean, it will take months. Like if I come to the chart today and I come to the charts the next day, quite frankly, nothing has changed. So if the market is not close to like a key level I'm trading at, I may look at that chart for like days, right? I may not look at that chart for like days. And other times, because of how I've set up the key levels and everything, I can look through everything at once. In 10 minutes, I can look through my entire watch list. You get so okay, now I've looked at AJ. I already know what's happening right now. I know that okay, it's not close to what I'm looking for, right? I cannot scroll through and scroll through and scroll through, if that makes sense. Now, only when prices begin to set up around my key levels or something, I might now pause and take a closer look. So because of how I've set things up, I just have to scroll through my watch list. You see, I don't have to analyze the market every day. I don't have to analyze the market. There's nothing to analyze. It's just the market has to play out to my levels and I take my trade. So it's like the way I trade is very different from most traders. I completely understand that. So it's like I don't have to come to the chart and check new things because I don't think there's anything new that will happen on chart that I'm not expecting, if that makes sense. Maybe considering how I trade. So the feeling of always wanting to come down to the chart to lock in, I get it. But I think as you make progress, depending on how you trade, you may not need to be on the chart every single day. Okay. So yeah. Sorry, hold on. So yeah, I hope that explanation makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
All right. But yeah, I get it. I do. I do. I understand. I understand how this feels. I understand how this feels. But it's okay. It's okay. I think once you're making progress to, at the end of the day, we're just making sure that our systems are very much systematic, right? Once that happens, you see that you would be coming to the charts, but with a purpose. Like you will not just be just coming to the charts just to look for something new, if that makes sense. You become to charts with a purpose. Okay, you know what pairs are setting up. You see some of these pairs are in red. These are pairs that are maybe presenting opportunities. It's different. Right? It's just a different ballgame now. But yeah, I think it's just with progress you'll adjust. Okay, you'll adjust.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
You'll
thank you.
adjust.
That's cool.
Of course, anytime, man. Anytime. So yeah, any other questions, guys? Any other questions? All right. So in the absence of any other questions, I think this is where we might be drawing the curtain to a close. So just as a heads up, our backtesting session will come towards the end of May, say I think the third week. But yeah, for the next 2 weeks, I'd like to dedicate that time to look at our journals and see how far we've come with our recording of our trades and stuff like that. So you guys just get prepared. All right. So yeah, thank you guys for showing up today. It was a wonderful session, of course, as always, and it would not be possible without your presence. So I'm always grateful for the opportunity to speak to you guys. Okay, so you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys next week. Right?
All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the session. And have a wonderful weekend
Yeah,
too.
thank you. Thank you. Because,
Yeah,
Kasi,
Thank you,
you are,
Chris.
yeah, you are really helping us. So thank you very much. You're helping
of,
us.
of course, man. Anytime, it's my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Okay, so you all take care.
Appreciate
All right,
it. Thank you.
All right,
take
okay.
care. Yes. Bye bye. Okay, stop recording.